Hi there, welcome to Up Your Arsenal. I'm Daniel. My friends know me as Neo. You can call me either way. Why am I speaking in English again? I was invited by Pedro from Retro Game Force to another challenge. This time it's the top 3 most valuable items on my collection. And since he speaks in English on his channel, and most of his viewers, I believe, are foreign, I would like his viewers to be able to understand me as well. And so it's a nice chance for me to unrust my English skills. And so, without further ado, let me begin. And as I'm setting this up, I would like to say that the challenge doesn't seem to be about the most valuable items when it comes to their price or their rarity, but how much those items mean to us. And so I have done a top that mostly consists on items that mean a lot to me. And since a top 3 most valuable items is something really vague, it's not the top 3 most valuable games or consoles, so I'm gonna mix it up and I'm gonna have to do a honorable mention category so I don't leave some things behind. Just choosing 3 from among all this is really hard. I guess that's why it's called a challenge. And so to begin, I'm gonna start by showing you this right here. And this is a Marcus Phoenix statue from the Gears of War 3 special edition. It's one of the most high profile special edition things that I've started buying, and that kind of put me on the path to start to collect action figures and limited editions from video games and stuff. And I think it's a really, really awesome, beautiful piece of art. I think this was hand painted. It's really large and well built. The Lancer comes off and you can examine it closer, and it's really detailed. Just this by itself would be a really nice collectible from the Gears of War series, but it's only a small part of this. And with this came also the special edition of the video game. It's always visible right here on my room. Whenever I just glance at it, I kind of get that reminder that makes me proud of collecting and loving video games. Most of these special editions are a way for producers, video game producers, to get some extra money from us, but they are also a way of showing us gratitude for supporting these games and these franchises for years and years. And video games are one of the entertainment categories where fans are most rewarded with these kind of things, with the figures, with the small pieces of art that we can have in our rooms, kind of like a small museum of all the things we love. I also wanted to show you this right here. This is a micro Game Boy Advance, really small device that barely has space for a Game Boy Advance cartridge to fit right there. It also has a 3.5 jack plug right there that the previous Game Boy Advance SP did not have. It comes with a standard backlight screen. I'm showing you this because it's a thing I always wanted to have. It didn't show around stores back then a lot, on the city I live at least, and quickly became a collector's item, sort of expensive, but I found this one for really cheap. It's my favorite color. I don't know yet if it's working or not because it didn't come with a charger, but it was so cheap that even if eventually it doesn't work, it works as a collector's item perfectly. I hope it does. I hope it does work, however. A last honorable mention, it's the new Nintendo 3DS XL, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Special Edition. I got into the Nintendo DS consoles really late this year, actually, and I started with a DS Lite. Then I went up to a 2DS so I could read the 3DS games, but I wasn't satisfied, so I got new 2DS XL. But then people said I would like the 3D effect, so I got a new Nintendo 3DS, and I had to get an XL because the larger screen really makes a difference. It's a really awesome device with 2 high quality screens. The 3D really adds up to most of the games. The Super Nintendo edition, it's really beautiful. I love the way when you open it up, it has the shape of a regular SNES, and it's a console that plays games from a lot of generations of Nintendo consoles. with its virtual console, with the Game Boy Color, Nintendo, Mega Drive games, and whatever. Backwards compatible with cartridges from the first generation of Nintendo DS games and these latest 3DS games. Always with me. And it has been on the 3DS that I've played mostly lately because, life takes its toll on us with work, with you being tired, getting home, and not wanting to download updates. I can just go to bed and play for a little while until I'm tired and I have to go to sleep. I can play on my lunchtime, on every little break, and the games are really high quality, so honorable mention. Well, now for the top three items that I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna start by showing you this little figure right here. This is a figure from the Trigun anime TV show. This is Vash the Stampede, and it's a really articulated toy figure with all the joints bent and everything. You can see on the inside it's got its metal things on the knees. The boots are really detailed. It's got the buttons on the coat. It's made from a material that kind of deteriorates on the corners, and wherever it bends, it kind of loses some of this tissue here. But it's really large and detailed. You can also replace the arm with this regular arm and not the weaponized one. It's got these glasses that tend to fall off if I'm not careful. And Trigun, it's not even my favorite anime anymore, but it meant a lot to me back then. And this is special, not because of the figure itself, but because it's a memento from that time. I went to Austria to a 1 week retreat for gamers to talk about hate speech, acceptance of women in video games, and toxicity on online games. It was one of the most rewarding things ever in my life. I will never forget that week. I met a lot of awesome people, and I went with my friend João Coelho, and that was one of the reasons why it's completely unforgettable, those days. We went around the city, we had lunch in awesome places, we attended Gamescom that year, and we found a store completely filled to the brim. It was kind of small and filled from bottom to top with all sorts of awesome action figures, anime, from a lot of franchises, and this one just popped and I had to bring it. And so it's kind of a thing that reminds me of those days that were kind of a turning point for my life as well, for a number of reasons. Because it was the first time I traveled abroad. It was also the time where the channel kind of took a break, and I kind of reevaluated what this meant to me and a lot of things that happened in my life back then. So yeah, I was just scouring my game room for those things that mean something to me, and when my eyes fell on this one, all of these stories I was telling you about just popped to my mind, and it made sense to pick this figure right here. So Vash the Stampede from Trigun. Well, this might seem to you like an odd one, an Xbox 360, the first generation of this console. And it's kind of all messed up. It's got a bad layer of paint all around. As you can see, this was painted with black marker. It has all these smudges that I can't get off. A 60 gig hard drive that's completely filled with arcade games. This thing right here where the USB doesn't have the spring, so it just goes in like that and doesn't come out. This was also painted with black marker and stuff. It is one of the models that doesn't even have HDMI or wireless capabilities yet. So why is this valuable to me? It was my first 360 console. Some people in my family kind of gathered to gift me for my birthday, I think in around 2006 or something, like a year after the console had come out. So this console is around 12, 13 years old, and it was one of the consoles that had the infamous red ring of death and stopped working. And so I had to get another console. Then I had a third console that I still have, Halo Reach 360 Special Edition I bought from my good friend Pedro Fly. Hopefully this brings some memories to him as well. That one is still my main console. Then one day, me and a couple of friends, Cajó and Nelson, we saw some tutorials on the internet about how to fix this problem. And we opened the console, we ripped it apart, and we did that thing where you take out the graphic card chip, and you take that white paste, and then you replace it, and then you kind of put it there again, and you and you strengthen those metal plates on top so it gets closer to the motherboard. We left it heating up for like an entire night with towels all around it, and it started working. And so I gifted this one to my little sister, my younger sister, that had the console for a bunch of years. A couple of weeks ago, I asked her, so do you still play on your 360? And she told me, like, not only I don't play on that console anymore, it's on top of like of a wardrobe, and it must be completely covered in like dust. So if you want, just take it. And I took it. I put some new games on its hard drive. I cleaned it up. It is working still. The picture is not the best. It doesn't have HDMI, and I was thinking about giving it away to someone or trying to sell it for really cheap. But then I started thinking on the history this old kind of broken device has. I'd better keep it because it doesn't mean a lot in terms of monetary value, but it has this whole story always attached to it. It's also completely blue because when we weren't sure if we would be able to fix it, we used it as an experiment and we painted with like a blue acrylic spray paint. And so it's a custom console of sorts that has a lot of my recent history in gaming inside. I'm not saying third place, second place, and first place because I don't know, these things are attached to my memories and I don't have like the most special memory or the second most special memory. They all mean a lot to me, kind of in the same way. But this thing right here, this is kind of the sole responsible for me loving video games so much. A big box copy of the PC version of Quake I, one of the games that made me like really get attached to a video game, addicted to the point of beating it all over again. Throughout the years, you know, since it was an early 3D game, it got many updates so you could play it with texture filtering, 3D FX video cards, recently with mods that make it run with dynamic shadowing and lights and new, more detailed 3D models. And so this game has been with me my whole life. When I first played the game, it was the floppy version. It didn't have the soundtrack. It's now well known for being one of the first forays of Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, into making soundtracks. Trent Reznor is now getting Oscar awards for his soundtracks to movies. And in 1996, he was already starting to do the atmospheric soundtrack thing, like 2 decades before he ventured into that side of his work again. Trent Reznor had released the Downward Spiral, his second long-length album, and then he did this. And a funny thing, the machine guns in the game used nails for bullets and the boxes for the ammo had the logo for Nine Inch Nails. It said NIN, and you would pick a box of nails. And I just got this box recently. It was really cheap. I want to thank João for parting with this awesome box and in such a good shape. Just look at this with the heart right there. It's got one of those postcards for GT Interactive if you wanted to get some more info on their games. The README text in a paper format, and then it's got the proper manual. Thanks to Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails for sound effects and music. Sound effects as well. I thought it was only the soundtrack. And it's got a color manual with the monsters, with the weapons, with explaining the interface and its many icons. Also the CD that besides the Saturn version is still one of the only ways that you can legitimately listen to its unique soundtrack before it's eventually re-released. I'm really proud of having this, a physical proof of one of the standout points in my gaming passion right here in my collection, and it's probably my most esteemed, my most valuable item on my collection. So before I end this video, I just want to once again give a huge shout out to Pedro from Retro Game Force. Please visit his channel and follow him on his other social network pages. Also to the other people from this chain, some good friends from the Portuguese YouTube community that I talk to almost every day and are a huge support. And we kind of give each other strength and help in our small community. So a shout out also to João Correia, to Cat Video Games, Retro Raider, to Retros2. Now I want to pass the torch to my friend Pedro Loureiro from the channel It's a Pixel Thing. Some of you might know him already. He has a well-established YouTube channel on our small Portuguese community. I love the way he tells stories about his personal life and his connection to the things he owns and the things he loves. So I'm very curious to know which items he will choose and which stories he's going to tell about those items. So Pedro, thanks for accepting the invite to continue the challenge. Give him a subscribe and check out his amazing content. If you are foreign, all of his content is in English. To everyone else, thanks a lot for watching once again one of my simple videos. I know these aren't the sort of really valuable things that you rarely see on the wild, but I hope my stories were enough to entertain you for the duration of this video. Also, shout out to my foreign viewers that might see this, because it's my second English video, and I hope you guys are able to understand and enjoy this video as well. Also, if you like this video, like and subscribe. YouTube is kind of on muddy waters right now, and it's hard for people to reach small channels like mine. If you guys want to give me a small bump and to my channel, please like and subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. See you guys next time. I'm Daniel. This is Up Your Arsenal, and until the next time, play a lot and be happy and have fun and all of that.